I ran away from home because my husband was letting his best friend's sister get too handsy with him. Now he's saying I'm disgusting for having thoughts like that and to divorce. I'm still so shaken by everything, so sorry for my rambling. My husband Jake, 25M, and I, 25F, have been married for 3 years, and from the beginning, he was very close with his best friend's sister, Cindy, 18F. Well, my husband would often talk about her and tell me how he had seen her grow up throughout the years. Cindy is always very bubbly and seems very fond of Jake as well. I remember when we were dating, she would ask to come along on our dates a lot. I never really said anything as I liked spending time with her as well. She was like a little sister to me. When we announced our engagement, she asked my husband to better not forget her after becoming a married man and to still hang out with her. Well, we got married, and I even made her my bridesmaid. We sort of lost contact afterwards because we moved to a different state. Fast forward to now, Jake's best friend came to stay with us for some time, and Cindy came along as well. The moment she saw us, the first thing she said was how hot my husband has gotten and she was glad he didn't look like those boring married men. Then, throughout their stay, Cindy would just ignore my presence and be way too close to Jake. I told Jake that it was looking a bit inappropriate and asked him to tell Cindy to tone it down, but he said that Cindy is just a bit childish and is that way with everybody. Well, on their last day, we decided to host a dinner party for everybody. During the party, I was with Jake when Cindy came and told me, "Oh, I need to steal your husband for a while," and before I could say something, she grabbed Jake's hand and took him to play games. I ignored it since it was their last day, but then throughout the dinner, she was getting way too close to Jake and would just drag him away whenever I was around, all while giggling at me. When everybody sat for dinner, I sat beside Jake and Cindy came last. She then said, "Oh, there is no seat," and then just went and sat on my husband's lap. Everybody was surprised, and Jake said, laughing, "Cindy, stop acting like a kid, you're not a kid anymore." Cindy started laughing, saying it was a joke, and got up to sit in another seat while giggling at me. Yeah, I was so angry with the disrespect, and with the fact that Jake was so cool with it, but I didn't want to say anything bad, so I excused myself, took my car, and went out. About an hour later, Jake called me asking where I was. I told him I was going to my friend's house and I would come back after Cindy had left. I know what I did was terrible, but I was so angry at that time that if I had stayed there any longer, I probably would have started fighting or crying. I came back the next day, and Cindy and her family had all left. Jake was very upset and said I had taken things too far. I started crying and told him how everything made me feel. He said I was horrible to think such things about Cindy and that she was like his sister. I told him that I was not doubting his intentions, but I was hurt by how disrespectful Cindy's behavior was, and he was enabling her by not saying anything. He started saying that I sounded ridiculous and couldn't even take a joke, referring to the incident of sitting on his lap. I said regardless, I don't want her in my house again. To top it off, Cindy sent a message saying that she was sorry for making me feel insecure and that she would make sure to make me feel better, but I should not have left as it was pretty childish and kind of spoiled the mood. It felt so backhanded, I didn't reply to her. I just told my husband he needs to maintain a distance from Cindy. He asked if I was giving him an ultimatum. I said if he would go as far as to disregard and disrespect my feelings for Cindy, then yes. This really rubbed my husband the wrong way, and he said since I have such disgusting thoughts in my mind and giving him an ultimatum anyway, then he might as well leave because he cannot live with such an insecure person who has such disgusting thoughts about him. He packed a bag and left for his mother's place. I have tried apologizing numerous times, telling him how sorry I am for everything, but he is ignoring my texts and calls. Later, Cindy's brother texted me and called me a bunch of names for thinking like that about his sister, saying Jake should just leave me and a disgusting person like me deserves to be alone. I could not stop crying after that. I don't know how to fix this. Is there a way to even come back? Was I so wrong to deserve this? Update 1. Thank you all for responding and to those who gave me good advice in personal messages. I couldn't read all the comments, but now I know my feelings are valid and boundaries were crossed by Cindy. Now, during the dinner, there was Cindy, her brother Sean and his girlfriend, and their cousin Derek, who's also a good friend of my husband, with his boyfriend. So, I called Derek and asked about the situation and what happened after I left. He was sympathetic and said that after I left, at first, they thought I would come back after some time. However, things were really awkward, but when I didn't return, Sean's girlfriend told Cindy that she was so disrespectful for doing that. Derek and his boyfriend also said the same thing. To this, Cindy started crying, saying they didn't have to corner her and attack her over a silly joke, and that she didn't know it would get so out of hand. She then left the room while crying. Jake didn't know what to say, and everybody left early the next day. Derek also mentioned that Cindy has always had issues with boundaries. When he introduced his boyfriend to everybody, Cindy would get too close and joke that she was just checking if he really wasn't straight. They were really uncomfortable with it as well, so Derek confronted her, to which Cindy rolled her eyes and said they couldn't take a joke. Eventually, she stopped. This all sounds so bizarre, I don't know what's going on with Cindy. Sean's girlfriend also texted me, saying she was sorry for what happened. I told her how Sean's message was inappropriate, but she had no idea about the text, so I sent her a screenshot and asked her to tell Sean not to harass me again. She was very apologetic and said she would talk to him. Now, my mother-in-law called and asked what was going on, as Jake didn't tell her and only said we had an argument. I was a bit hesitant to tell, but eventually, I told her everything. She was furious at my husband. She said they would be coming to have a talk. So yeah, I'm just waiting for them to arrive and feeling really nervous. I don't know if what I did was right or wrong, but we will see. As for people saying my husband is some kind of kitty lover or they are having an affair, I know this is furthest from the truth. I never questioned his intentions, but what hurt me was the lack of respect from Cindy towards me. Update 2. For people who are still asking me about the update in private messages, so, my mother-in-law came with my husband, and well, the talk happened. There were a lot of things, but I will try to summarize. Basically, Jake apologized to me first and tried to explain his point of view. He said that he was angry because I left without saying anything for the whole night when he was literally trying to just diffuse the situation and try to laugh it off because it was so awkward he didn't know what else to do. Instead of communicating, I just left him in that weird situation. He was meeting his friends after such a long time and just wanted the dinner to be peaceful. Cindy was going back anyway, and we would most likely never meet her again. He acknowledged Cindy was indeed overstepping boundaries, but he didn't know how to bring it up since he has literally seen her growing up, and she is like a little sister to him. Also, she acts like that with everyone. He thought that it was just for a few days, and he wanted no drama during their stay, so he would just brush it off. He did acknowledge he was wrong about not saying anything. He was already really worried and sad because of how I just left with no explanations. Even after I came back, not once did I ask how he felt. He was also very overwhelmed with everything and felt I was accusing him of not doing anything when he literally pushed her off as politely as possible when she tried to sit. He felt I was attacking his character and even gave the ultimatum, which made him so sad as he felt I thought less of him. It wasn't about Cindy, but about how easy it was for me to question his sincerity. He said after that dinner he was going to go extremely low contact with her anyways. He apologized for not speaking up about the disrespect Cindy was showing towards me and for also leaving like that. Then, after Jake said everything, my mother-in-law explained the situation from her perspective to Jake. She scolded him a lot as well. In short, she told him that as a husband, it was his responsibility to make me feel like I am his priority, and that he disappointed me the moment I had to come to him to ask for establishing boundaries. As a husband, it was his duty that I never would have to come to him about this in the first place. She also asked him how he would have felt had it been a guy on my lap, and he had no answer to it. She told him that what I did was an eruption of suppressed feelings, and as a husband, it was his duty to come after me and never let me leave in the first place. There were a lot of things said by her, and Jake seemed to realize and sincerely apologize for his actions. She told him that if he ever pulled such a stunt ever again, then not to expect her to take him in. Later, she took me for a walk. It was just the two of us, and there she explained some things to me as well. She said that she is sorry for everything but told that even at her house, Jake was distraught. He didn't tell her because he most likely knew he was wrong too but was overwhelmed about everything as well. She said she was in no way excusing her son's behavior, but would hope that I would forgive him. She also said that under no circumstances do I need to leave my house as it was my house and my family. She said I shouldn't be afraid to speak my mind if anything makes me uncomfortable, and to talk to her if Jake does something stupid again, and she will set him straight. She hoped we would work it out since she has seen our love for each other, and it would be sad to see us split up due to some disrespectful brat, her words. She said she cannot have a say in our issues but suggested that we should get counseling to understand each other better. She even bought ice cream for me. I know it's a bit childish, but she said sweet things work as a charm when people are upset, and well, she was right. Well, it was awkward at night. Jake came to our room, and we didn't know what to say. After a while, we talked and both apologized to each other. However, I did tell him that I was angry at him for telling everything to Sean and was deeply hurt by the text he sent me. He said he didn't know what I was talking about, and I showed him the texts. He said he didn't tell Sean about our fight, and only told him that he was at Mom's place. He called Sean, and well, it turns out Sean told Cindy and told her how she went too far at the party. Then Cindy made a huge sob story about how I was passive-aggressive with her the whole time, how I would always try to question her character and act insecure and jealous. She even went on to say that I was always like that with her even when she was a kid and that I never liked her and always tried to manipulate people into thinking I was an angel while she was a bleep. Well, that made him angry to think how I had been treating Cindy, and he sent those texts. Jake and I were baffled by such accusations, and he tried to explain to Sean how it wasn't true, but then Jake just let it be and decided to go no contact with Cindy and extremely low contact with Sean. Jake apologized again, and we just cuddled and slept. Well, Cindy is out of our lives for good now, and we have decided to go to counseling for better communication in the future. Let's see how everything goes, but yeah, we are not getting divorced. I know a lot of you people wanted me to show Jake this post, but he was so sad and got scolded a lot already, so I decided not to show him for now. Maybe in the future. Sorry for all this rambling. Have a good day, people.